Good afternoon. My name is Pádraig Marin and welcome to the Business Eye. In the first part of today's show, we have an interview with Gordon O'Neill of Goldfish.ie. Welcome to the Business Eye.
Thanks, Pádraig. How are you?
For our listeners, first of all, Goldfish.ie, what exactly does it do?
Goldfish.ie is a business telecommunications service provider. We provide telephone services in the cloud via the internet.
Yeah, so that's what you do via the cloud. Cheaper, more flexible, a number of advantages, which we'll go into in a while. But what was your background before forming it?
I've worked in the IT industry for over 15 years in various different roles, running IT departments in Irish and multinational companies. And I've been a receiver of telecom services from many suppliers over the years. But about 4 years ago, the company I was working for decided they would no longer have a requirement in Ireland, so I had to look elsewhere. And over 3 years before that, I built up a relationship with the person who's now my business partner, who supplied telephony services to me in that company. So we got together 4 years ago and said, look, what are we going to do? The company's pulling out of Ireland. Is there something we could do together? He had previously gone back to the UK and started a similar business over there. So we said, right, let's try this. We'll do the same idea here in Ireland. And we came up with Goldfish.ie. And we haven't looked back since, so we're in business just over 3 years now.
Yeah, and a very, you've got big clients already on board.
We do. We have several. We've just coming up to 3,000 customers now. When we started off, we had a wide variety of clients, but now at this point, we've reached a point where we're getting some of the bigger multinational clients as well, in many different sectors in the building industry. We've got CISC, who are a household name in that space. We now have a number of contact centre clients. IDG Direct is another one. They were in the news there about a year ago with a big expansion in Dublin. And we provide service to them. So really the profile of our clients is changing all the time, and we're getting more complex customers with more complex needs. And I think it's the flexibility of being able to deliver a cloud-based service that allows us to meet those needs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a cloud-based service. So I see on your website it's what business VoIP packages.
Yeah, so very simply, that is voice over the internet.
Yeah, okay.
So in the old days, to use telephony services, you had a line that came into your building and that plugged into a phone. From there, you had on-site telephone systems where lots of lines come in and plug into a phone system, and then the phones plug into that. With us, you just need one good internet connection, and all that voice traffic is delivered over the internet to our servers in our secure, redundant data centres. So the phones talk directly to our bank of servers in multiple data centres, and there's no need for expensive on-site equipment which may fail, or you have to look after backups locally. That need is gone. So you save money, first of all, by not having the system or not paying maintenance on it, but also you've got the peace of mind. You basically outsource that problem to us. So we put the redundant systems in place that the business owner has better things to be worrying about their business. With that also then, as we roll out new features, they will automatically be rolled out to our customers, so you don't have any local on-site upgrade required. So security, redundancy and features are always under our watchful eye, I suppose, and we give our customers the benefit of that.
Mm-hmm. So I suppose the first thing that really strikes me here is the flexibility of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially you pinpointed CIS there, and that's very interesting. With building contractors, there's continual mobility. They go on a site, they need to set up quickly, and then they move on again, and it can expand.
Well,
so
we spoke
it's a pretty dynamic arrangement.
It is. We spoke to CISC 3 years ago, and they had a very specific problem. And the specific problem was that they had multiple building sites on the go at any point in time and would be starting new ones at very little notice.
Yeah. So
the on-site engineer was told, look, you're going live, we just won this contract for a school. That's a good example. The first site we did for them was a school. And their challenge was that they'd have to buy a new phone system. They'd have to order traditional phone lines, which could take 6 to 12 weeks to be installed. So there's a real delay in getting set up, and there was a cost associated with getting set up. So I said, look, you don't need to do this at all. They have a very good inter-site network connecting all their sites. So instead, we spoke to them. We put in a fully hosted solution, and they were up and running in a matter of hours. Mm-hmm. So they've gone.
The reason why I have a wry smile is I used to work as an engineer on sites maybe 10 years ago. And bringing aircom and getting them out and getting the line and getting everything. There was a lack of flexibility, to say the least.
Well, yeah, it is. It is a challenge. So the problem we solved for them was we gave them a very flexible solution straight away, but also we can support them centrally, and their own IT department can provide central support to the different sites from one location. So if they've got sites all over the country, they don't physically have to be at a phone system on site. They manage it through our control panel. They can get remote access into the users to control the phones themselves. So it works really, really well. But there was a huge cost saving. I mean, some of the sites, they were spending anything from 5 to 15,000 euro on telephone equipment on each site, and that may not get moved on to the next site. That could be money just gone. So there was the cost, but also the flexibility was a big feature. I mean, the most recent project we've done with them is the new brewery in St. James's Gate, the new Diageo brewery. So we've got 70 of our phones on site there. Again, we went in, had them up and running in a day. Once the internet connection went in, we pre-configure everything for them, and it just works. It's very, very straightforward.
Mm-hmm. And cost savings, like how much are you talking?
When you're looking at cost savings, there's a few things you need to look at. Typical businesses might have multiple telephone lines on site. So, first of all, most of those will disappear. If you use a telephone line to get your internet connection, for example, you'd need to keep it because we're an internet-based company. But some companies may have, 4, 8, 16, up to 32 telephone lines coming into the building, and that cost is taken away straight away. There's also the cost of maintaining expensive on-site hardware and paying for support for that hardware. That goes away also. And I suppose the third major cost saving is on call charges. We're very, very competitive in that space, and much more competitive than the traditional wired telcos.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so that's, as you say, the flexibility and mobility is huge.
Yep.
Especially for a dynamic company like that, especially Cisco. And the cost effectiveness is a big thing. Just break down the services there, because I just see here, call recording.
Yeah.
Just explain the features.
Okay, well, if I just take it back one step, there are 3 key areas where I think we can help customers. You've touched on one, which is making the business more flexible. We can also help them to present a more professional image. So we have some features that help them do that.
How would you do that? Sorry.
Okay, so if you imagine a small business a lot of small people start up, they might be running 1 or 2 businesses from one location. We have a couple of features like line display name. So you might take multiple numbers from us, and when a customer calls you, it'll identify which business number they actually called on your phone, so you know which hat to wear when you answer the phone. We also have a whisper service, which will play a message in your ear based on the number that was called, which will also identify the line they called to speak to you, but won't identify to the calling party. Message while routing. So, for example, hello, you've reached company 123, please wait while we place your call. It just gives that feeling of professional expertise in the way they deal with their customers. Music on hold, customized music on hold. So there are nice little features that help people present a good image to either prospective customers or new clients or whatever, regardless of what size they are. And this is all configured through our control panel. It's very, very user-friendly and very easy. So that's the professional image. The flexibility then is where one of the biggest features of our service is that we don't care where you are. We don't care if you're in one office, you could be in 3 or 4 offices. It's the same as being in the room next door to someone. It's entirely cloud-based. Therefore, you're not restricted by the physical constraint of a phone system. So, for example, there's a traditional feature a lot of phone systems will have, which are hunt groups. So it'll call extension 1, 2, and 3 for X amount of rings, and then ring a few more. That could be in multiple locations. So particularly in the retail sector, and we have some large retail clients as well in the Midlands who have phones in 4 or 5 different sites. And if the sales team in shop number 1 doesn't answer within 5 rings, the phones will automatically start ringing in shop number 2, 100 kilometres away. They never want to miss a sales call. And after that, it'll ring somewhere else. So it gives you that flexibility of being in multi-sites. Similarly, you can have a phone ring in multiple places simultaneously. Once one of them answers it, it'll stop ringing in the other sites. So it's very, very useful for people. So time of day routing is another one. So if you imagine that everything we do is web-based. So if you want to set up your number to call, maybe it'll call at my desk for 10 seconds, and then it'll call my mobile for 10 seconds, and then it'll go to an answering service. You do it through a web browser. But you can have a separate rule which kicks in at 5:30 or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever your business hours are, which will do something entirely different. And lots of our clients like this because they say, right, during the day, I want the receptionist and someone else to answer the phone, but as soon as the office is closed, I need to make sure it gets answered. So it might go to an answering service in a call centre, it might go to their voicemail with a customised out-of-hours message, or it might go to the MD's mobile. So these are all routing features which are easily configurable through a web browser, all in one place in our control panel, and it really gives great flexibility to the customers. And voicemail to email is another obvious one as well. So if you're ever out and someone leaves you a voicemail, we'll email you a sound file, which you can pick up on your smartphone.
Great. So as you say, you covered a lot of areas there between the call recording, the hunt groups, the time-of-day routing.
Time of day routing. The call recording, you touched on that as well, is a relatively new feature which we deployed because we had a lot of demand from the insurance sector. And a number of our customers are insurance brokers. And they said we need to record calls as part of our day-to-day operations and our commitments to our customers. So it works very well for them, and we can retain the calls for up to 6 years. And all they have to do is, again, log into our control panel, click on a link, and it'll download the file for them. Another recent feature then is Call Director, which is intelligent routing of calls. So, for example, you might dial a number and it'll say, press 1 for sales, press 2 for accounts, press 3 for support. Again, it's delivered through our control panel. The customers can configure it themselves. It's very, very easy to manage, and it works really, really well.
And I suppose, we touched on important areas, the cost-effective, mobility, dynamic situation, but also speed of installment, of course. You can do it pretty much on the day.
Well, I mean, if you have an internet connection and you go to our website, www.goldfish.ie, and click on the register link, you can be up and running inside 2 minutes. Once you sign up, we'll email you the details for your number and your username and password. And after that, all you need is an IP phone, or if you don't have an IP phone, what we call a soft phone, which is just a bit of software that runs on your laptop, which is free and allows you to use the service straight away.
It's a big change for building sites from 10 years ago, that's for sure.
It's a bit of a change, that's right.
We go to ads. Just your contact details again for listeners.
www.goldfish.ie.
You're listening to The Business Eye here on Dublin South FM. On today's show, we have Gordon O'Neill of Goldfish.ie. This show is sponsored by Dún Laoghaire-Rathdown County Enterprise Board. And now we'll take a break for ads. You're listening to The Business Eye here on Dublin South FM. On today's show, we have Gordon O'Neill of Goldfish.ie. This show is sponsored by Dún Laoghaire-Rathdown County Enterprise. And just returning to you, Gordon. Okay, first of all, we touched on a few areas there, but I suppose you find it in your business as well. There would be maybe a fear and a lack of knowledge from SMEs as regards technology. It's
what's really important in that space is that what I'm selling to my customers is a service rather than technology. We look after the technology in our data centre, and our support staff look after the technology. It's not technology to you, it's a service to you. So what all that our customers need to know is that if they have a good internet connection and they want the features of having a really top-class on-site phone system without having the headache of actually having that phone system on-site, we're happy to help them. So we can deliver these great features to them as a service. They don't need any technical awareness whatsoever. Our support team are there all the time to help them get set up. We have great tools to help them get set up quickly, and they'll get all these benefits: flexibility, mobility, professionalism, and cost saving, and they don't need to worry about the technology. That's our problem. So I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Right. Product here, I see QView.
QView.
So that's QUVU.
VU.
Explain that, please.
Well, that came out of the change in some of our customer base, that we've acquired a number of very, very good customers in the contact centre space. One of those is IDG Direct, as I mentioned earlier. Now, they're making approximately 15,000 calls a day on our network. They have 100 agents working full-time, calling over 100 countries. So, first of all, that helps dispel the myth that has been around for some time about call quality and capacity issues in terms of telephony over the internet. So really, we've reached a stage now where our platform is so resilient that we can handle much higher volumes than that. With that comes the increased availability of high-speed broadband, which is an enabler of that sort of technology. But QView then came when we realised that our contact centre clients wanted more than just to make calls effectively and efficiently to their clients. They wanted to manage their environment. So it's a product that runs in a web browser, which gives a team lead or a supervisor or an operations manager a one-window overview of everything that's going on in their contact centre. So they see a visual display of all the agents, their status, whether they're on the phone, whether they're waiting and available to take a phone call, or maybe they're not available, they're on a break. It also gives analytics stats by just hovering the mouse over the icon for the agent of their performance for the day, the amount of calls they've taken, whatever. There are multiple metrics you can set which might be of interest to you. So the real beauty, though, is that it's available in a web browser from anywhere. So we had an example where one of our customers was sitting at an airport in New York waiting to fly home about 2 months ago, and he had a couple of hours to kill, and it was a Friday afternoon. He said, right, I'll have a look. He was able to log in, have a look at what was going on in the call centre, saw there was a bit of an issue, contacted one of the team leaders, and it was resolved straight away. So it really is, it's a really flexible way of managing contact centre operations.
Yeah, as you say, you're managing your environment even when you're away on business.
Correct.
And analytics stats, that's
really
interesting.
Yeah, so within that, you can look at there are key call centre metrics, and you can look at those live. They update live within the web browser. You can compare either different, you can overlay stats one against another, so you might look at calls per hour or number of call duration and many other metrics that you might look at the same time. But also you can do comparisons over time, comparisons agents versus agents or departments versus departments. So you can look at the whole overview in a web browser of the performance of the contact centre.
So yeah, it's now we covered the various services you have now. I suppose what would you say that makes you different from competition out there?
We have a few areas where I believe we are different. One is that we are a business-only provider. We do not provide services to the residential sector, which means that our products and the development of our future products are geared towards the business sector. So it's very specific. And also our support staff are hired with a view to supporting business customers. And it's a different level of support that you offer to a business customer than typically is given to a residential customer. And that's just the reality, unfortunately, the way it is. The business customers spend more money, they have a higher expectation. So we target very much everything we do towards the business customer. Also, we provide IP telephony services and features around those services. We don't provide broadband. We don't provide fixed line services. We don't provide other services. So everything we do is focused on a very, very specific goal, and that's providing the best, most efficient and feature-rich telephony services over the internet that's possible. And another key area is we have a low fixed cost model. So a lot of our competitors will charge for a bundle of services with a committed spend every month. We prefer to take the approach that we want you to use our service. So we're not going to front load your cost every month. We'll keep it very low. And as you use the service and as you grow, you'll still get great value, but we'll make more revenue from you actually making calls and using our services. Mm-hmm. We have no interest in front loading costs and saying, well, you must spend X amount per month. So it's a less of a barrier to entry, and I think it's fairer and more transparent how we price our services. So that'd be the three key areas.
So that's the big thing, not having fixed costs beforehand to just, and if a customer feel then they're getting more or less.
Well, if you've got one customer who signs up and wants to take a single user customer, for example, is €2.50 per month. That's their fixed cost. Mm-hmm. That's it. We don't force them to take bundles or to take multiple numbers. It's entirely up to them. And
the customer service regards business customers, of course, will be at a different level than it would be.
It is, yeah. There's a different expectation from the customer, so our staff need to be trained to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Exciting times here. 8 new firms in Nexus Innovation in Limerick.
Yeah.
Just what exactly is the Nexus Innovation?
The Nexus Innovation Centre is, well, they used to be called incubation centres, but I think innovation centre is the new phrase that's used. A lot of the universities have these. It's a spin-out centre for graduates. So the graduates come through the programme. They say, right, I've got this idea. I want to start a business. And the universities support them by providing, first of all, physical office space, but they also provide mentoring and they've got support programmes. So from our point of view, we see it as a great opportunity. You get these very exciting, high potential startups who are all in one place. They obviously have telephony requirements. It doesn't necessarily suit the universities to give them extensions from the already overloaded university system. So we said, right, well, we can obviously give them access to our great features. And what's really good in this case is, as they are high potential startups, in a lot of cases they will fairly quickly move on and move out and move into the surrounding areas and employ people and take new offices. All they have to do is take their phones with them. They don't lose the numbers go with them. They just expand, they take greater services. So by using our service in that environment, they're future-proofing their growth, and they're getting all the fantastic features that they expect to get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and as well, the huge development you had in Diageo, is it?
Diageo, we covered. That was the Diageo and Sisk. So that was all part of the new brew house that's being built in St James's Gate.
Yeah, and IDG Media as well?
IDG Media, that's the contact centre.
Yeah,
that's exactly, the people who are using QView. Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to somebody out there in SME that's, like I presume there's not a one-size-fits-all, that you would tailor it for whatever?
No, well, the beauty of the product is that it can fit any size business. So we've got people who are, one-man band on the road who like the flexibility and the mobile features of our business. They can have their calls routing to their mobile as well as their desk phone. Then obviously at the very high end we've got the contact centre clients, and we've got products that suit them. So really we can cater to any size of business. It's very, very scalable. And what's really good is that if people are growing, it's very easy to expand. It's the click of a mouse to add another 5 or 10 numbers. It's not about ordering lines. You're not worried about, well, have I got to put a new phone system in my new office or my second office? It all just works over the web. So really, I have no concerns. Any size of business can benefit from our service. Mm-hmm.
Just, Gordon, I suppose on the show, business people come on the show, we always ask them, if somebody was thinking of starting their own business, what advice would you give them?
Well, I have 2 things that particularly resonate with me. One is perseverance. It gets tough. There's no way of getting away from that. It's not easy. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And
perseverance with a capital P.
Yeah, it's really, really important. And no matter what people say to you, if you really believe in it and you know you can get it done and you know you can really, really succeed at it, don't listen to them. Don't let people, only listen to the positive people. There are loads of people who give you positive advice, and there are loads of people who give you negative advice. Ignore the negative stuff and keep going. But on an operational level then, if you are going to be dealing with internet business and taking payments online, the single most important thing you need to do is get your merchant account set up. It will take much longer than you thought, and it'll be much more difficult than you thought. It is a very, very long process. It's not the same as setting up a merchant account for taking card payments within a physical premises. It's an entirely different proposition, and you've got a lot of hoops to jump through, and it will take time. So if you've got a list of tasks and you know you're going to be taking payments online, start on that one first.
And I suppose you have to have a passion for what you do.
Absolutely.
It's bottom line. But
I think the perseverance is fed by the passion as well. You know, you'll stick at something if you love it. If you don't, you won't. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. So, I mean, what would your hopes and aspirations now with Goldfish going into the future? Well,
we've recently taken on a new member of our team in sales. I'm hiring a technical support and installation engineer. We've just moved office to deal with the expansion on a staff level. So for us, we're in a growth phase, and we want to grow the business as quickly as possible, and we're adding the staff to help us do that. So it's very, very exciting. In terms of what's enabling that, apart from the fact that our people like our services and they like what we offer, I think the big thing for us in the future is the rollout of high-speed broadband. So there's competition in that space now. A lot of the providers are bringing out new products, and it's really helping us. People are now sitting up and listening, saying, look, I can do this. I have the infrastructure to avail of these great features.
And I suppose we have 1 minute before ads. I suppose just for anyone who possibly tuned in, 1 minute, I suppose, encapsulate Goldfish.ie and give the contact details.
Okay, well, Goldfish.ie is we're a leading business telecoms provider. We'll give you all your telecoms needs in the cloud. We'll make you more flexible. We'll help you be more professional. We'll save you money, and we'll let you future-proof the growth of your business. And www.goldfish.ie. It takes about a minute to register and to order a number.
You're listening to The Business Eye on Dublin South FM. On today's show, we have Gordon O'Neill of Goldfish.ie. This show is sponsored by the Leary Rathdown County Enterprise Board, and now we'll take a break for ads.